everybody, I hope you're well. So this week's vlog I'm going to talk about fear. There's been a few sort of talks and articles that I've come across this week that have had a bit of a sort of a theme of fear running throughout them, and essentially why we don't really need to fear, yet we do so much. And if I'm honest, sort of looking back on my athletics career, one of my biggest regrets is that I probably did approach my career more from the perspective of fear rather than a love of running. So, you know, in terms of fear of failure and fear of looking silly in races if I didn't do well, fear of losing funding, all those sorts of things. And yeah, I do sort of believe that it is possible to be successful without the unnecessary fear, and therefore just to enjoy the process a whole lot more. So yeah, two of the things that have made me inspired me to do this post. On Monday I went to a talk by just an amazing woman called Rosie Pope-Swale, and she's run around the world like you do. She's just an absolute enigma, and you can just tell that she's fearless. I mean, to run around the world you pretty much have to be, but there's several instances. She's written a book called A Little Run Around the World, and in that she talks about how she came face to face with a wolf when she was camping, and normally, you know, they'd rip you to shreds, but because she sort of wasn't exuding fear, actually the wolf became a bit of a companion to her and looked after her. And then there was another instance when she was held at gunpoint by a man, and again she just sort of held fear at bay and managed to escape that as well. And yeah, she's sort of has met so many people around the world on her travels, and one of the great things that she has says that she has learned is that there is so much more goodness in the world than there is badness. So in terms of using this sort of thing just to relate to the life in general rather than just on a running perspective, she believes that a lot of what we read in the news and see on the telly, we don't really need to fear. I mean, obviously there are bad things that happen, but they are kind of blown a bit out of proportion, and it's much better, you know, just to not worry about it. Yeah, so there we go. That's Rosie Pope-Swale. I'll post something up about her as well. The next article was by a girl called Lauren Fleshman, and we were sort of athletes around a similar time, and she's just a really good writer and sort of quite sort of deep thinker as well. And she wrote one, it's entitled A Letter to My Younger Self, and in that she was just sort of trying to give like lessons in terms of putting health first, and there was a particular part in it where she talks about the moments that she remembers from her career are not even necessarily like the medals or the successes. You know, she has sort of medals at a world level and been to various major championships, but she says the real life changes, the memories that make the peach fuzz on your cheeks and the hairs of your forearms stand up, those will be the braiding of your teammates' hair in the 15-passenger van on the way to a race, a random tempo run along a sidewalk past a gas station where you felt like you were flying while home on Christmas break, descending a forest trail at camp behind your best friend with your arms outstretched in flight, running at night with someone you are falling in love with, pushing your baby in a running stroller for the first time, passing under a canopy of trees, temporarily blocking the rain on a cross-country course you can't remember the name of, the sound of your feet squelching in the mud while chasing your rifle. Yeah, I mean, I sort of feel a bit emotional almost reading that, because I can relate to that on a lot of levels. I mean, it is great to have success, don't get me wrong, when it comes to sport, but you know, don't sort of pin your whole self-worth on that, because yeah, the real things that matter and that you remember when you look back on are those really special moments. So, you know, and you'll have those regardless of success or failure. So yeah, again, just don't worry, and do as I said before, the whole purpose of that post was just to try and get her younger self to realise that she has to put her health first. And the final one, final article, was a blog by Tim Ferriss, and it was about a fear setting exercise that he likes to do. And he was sort of debating whether or not to go travelling abroad, because he had this sort of successful business that he didn't want to just leave and sort of cause problems for himself. So I just sorry, should read this now. This is from as I say, the article when he was trying to weigh up whether or not to go. So, where am I? My so-called worst case scenario might have a temporary impact of 3 or 4 out of 10. I believe this is true of most people and would be, holy shit, my life is over disasters. Okay, so 3 or 4 out of 10 is like the worst that anything could have happened. On the other hand, I realise my best case scenario, or even probable case scenario, it would easily have a permanent 9 or 10 positive life-changing effect. In other words, the risk I was risking an unlikely temporary 3 or 4 for a probable and permanent 9 out of 10, and could easily recover my baseline workaholic prison with a bit of extra work if I wanted to. So again, it's just sort of almost naming that fear and looking the fear in the eye and realising actually it's irrational. And as humans, we are actually more designed and predisposed to be a bit pessimistic, because it sort of ties into all survival instincts and that kind of thing. But in real terms, you know, as a sort of evolved humans now, it doesn't really serve us. So yeah, just sort of question your fears, I guess. And yeah, actually that article has really revived my ambitions to want to spend winters abroad. So yeah, just I think I might have mentioned in a previous post in terms of setting up like training and wellness camps abroad. So yeah, in discussions with the bank of mum and dad and uncle at the moment to try and make it come true. Yeah, because what have I got to fear, hey? So yeah, I hope that was useful for life, as well as in your quest to become the best runners you can be. And yeah, have a good week. I'll see you next. Take care. Bye bye.